What is going on, everyone? Welcome back to the Full 90. Now today we are talking FA Cup semi-finals. Now I do just want to quickly say before I get into that, at the exact same time this is being uploaded, so 6 PM on the 4th of April, I'm also uploading on my main channel, Pick a Pixel, if you guys don't know, which I think is linked in the description. I'm uploading a room/setup tour of the setup that I'm currently in right now. So if you want to get an insight as to how my Full 90 videos are recorded and set up and where I'm basically at, then you can go and check that out as soon as you've watched this video, which will be a quicker one because there's only 2 games to discuss here. But anyway, it's the FA Cup semi-finals. Now be sure to let me know down in the comments what you think is going to happen in these games, in these 2 matches between an all Premier League lineup. I'm going to go through each team, the run-in that they've basically taken to get to the semi-finals, similar to the way I did in the quarterfinal video, their goal difference, etc., what I think, and then of course the final scoreline prediction that I'm going to make for this video. So kicking off, we have Manchester City against Brighton. Now Man City, obviously hot favourites to win the FA Cup, with another step for them to take towards potentially winning the quadruple. Obviously, the Champions League, in my opinion, being the hardest of the 4 for them to win, followed by the Premier League, then the FA Cup, and the Carabao Cup they've already won, thanks to a penalty shootout against Chelsea. Now, Man City, to get to this stage of the competition, have had a very easy run-in for any Premier League team. I would say any Premier League team, except Burnley, more or less, would be able to successfully beat the teams in front of them. You know, other than those in the relegation zone, you know, Huddersfield, perhaps Fulham, possibly would even back Fulham to do this, and Cardiff, but I think everyone else in the Premier League could probably do this as well. But Man City have beaten Rotherham, Burnley, Newport County and Swansea. I watched the Swansea-Man City game, and boy, Swansea were certainly robbed of at least the chance to go through with a penalty shootout on the day, because my oh my, that was close. And also, offside, where's VAR? Come on. Swansea, you've got to feel sorry for them, but Man City managed to get past them with a 3-2 victory, scoring 19 and conceding just 3 in their road to the semi-final. They are up against Brighton, who beat Bournemouth, West Brom with a 3-1 win in a replay, Derby and Millwall after taking it all the way to penalties after 2 very late goals. Imagine being 2-0 down in the FA Cup quarter-final with 10 minutes to go and still making it through. Absolutely phenomenal heart shown by Brighton. Millwall, again, very, very unlucky to not get through to the semi-finals, but maybe it's just something in the air for the Premier League teams that got them to where they are. Brighton scoring 7, excluding the replay against West Brom, and conceding 4. So only a +3 goal difference, which is not a lot considering they've won all their games up until this point. So for this game, I'm going for a convincing Manchester City win. I was tempted to go for like 5-0, but Brighton are a Premier League team. They are going to put literally all their eggs in this basket because they are basically 95% safe from relegation, possibly more at this point from the Premier League. So they're going to put all of their eggs into this basket as a chance to get something out of the season. Obviously, Man City will as well. Pep Guardiola is that type of manager. So I'm not going to go for an absolute clean sweep of Brighton. I'm going to go for a 3-1 win to Manchester City. Still convincing enough. And obviously, the levels between the 2 teams are vastly different. But I think Brighton are going to make it tough. Maybe even a 2-1 Manchester City win. I don't think it's going to go to extra time and or penalties. But I think Manchester City are going to get the win in regular time, and I think Brighton will be able to get something out of it because Man City have had their frailties at the back lately, but I think Manchester City will go through to the final nonetheless with a 3-1 win over Brighton. Now the next game, much harder to predict. The 2 W's, Watford versus Wolves. Now Watford getting to this stage of the competition are the strongest in defence, having conceded only 1 goal in the entire tournament, and that was against Crystal Palace in the previous round, which I did correctly predict Watford would win 2-1. But to get to that stage, they beat Woking, Newcastle, QPR, and then obviously Crystal Palace 2-1, like I predicted in the previous video. I should have mentioned for the Man City-Brighton game, I predicted Brighton to beat Millwall 2-0 and Man City to beat Swansea 5-1. So right result in the end, but very, very close. Watford have scored 7 so far, and like I said, conceded 1. So a very good defensive record for them, and that has played quite a part in my prediction for this matchup because they're against Wolves, who are definitely a very, very good team. And up until their 2-0 loss against Burnley in the Premier League, they were looking unstoppable, beating Manchester United, beating everyone in the FA Cup. They beat Liverpool. They beat Shrewsbury in a replay. They beat Bristol City to end their run of form. At the time Bristol City played Wolves, they were the most informed team in Europe. would you believe? And they beat Manchester United 2-1, scoring 7 goals, excluding their replay against Shrewsbury where they won 3-2 and conceding 4. So not quite as tight as Watford, but still doing the job against harder opponents, it does have to be said. Wolves definitely having the hardest run to the semi-final at this point. I'm looking at my prediction and I really don't know. I wanted to go 2-2 between Watford and Wolves. I did say that Man United would beat Wolves 2-1 in the previous round, but Wolves did a flip on that and did beat Manchester United. I was going to put 2-2 here, but then seeing that Watford have only conceded 1 goal in the FA Cup kind of made me put 2-1 to Watford against Wolves. I'm going to change it. I'm going to backtrack in this video. I think Watford only conceding 1 does have to do with the fact they're against Woking, QPR, Crystal Palace they conceded the 1 against, and they managed to beat Newcastle 2-0. And Newcastle often lose 2-0 when it's not their day. So I think Wolves conceding 4 and Watford conceding 1 and then both scoring 7 is unfair to Wolves to say that they're that much further behind Watford. I really do think Wolves are a great team. And although I guess I also put 2-1 to Watford on the basis that Wolves did kind of choke against Burnley and didn't score and it was 2-0 there. But I think other than that Burnley blip, Wolves have been really, really good, especially in the FA Cup, knocking out 2 of the top 6. I don't know. This is a total gamble. I think I'm only choosing it to go this way on the basis that I sort of leant towards a Watford win due to Wolves' blip in the Premier League against Burnley and then conceding a few more goals than Watford in this competition. But I'm going to go with a 2-2 draw in the game. Still that way in extra time, maybe a 3-3 after extra time. Could be a thriller, because quite a few games lately when it's gone to extra time, both teams have scored in it. We saw it in the Checker Trade Trophy with Sunderland and Portsmouth. I saw it in the Europa League, I think, with Sevilla and Slavia Prague, which was absolute scenes. Maybe it will be 2-2 full-time, 3-3 after extra time, and Watford to win on penalties. Like I said, by the time it gets to penalties, it is a bit of a lottery. Wolves have Rui Patricio in goal and Watford have Ben Foster, I believe. I don't know enough about the keepers to compare the two, especially in penalties. But like I said, it is a bit of a lottery. So I think I said on the basis that I was swinging towards Watford, I'm just going to go with Watford on penalties. 2-2 in full time. But Wolves could easily go through. As you can see, I'm very much on the fence on this one. Very much on the fence. Because Wolves lost to Burnley in quite a disappointing performance and Watford lost to Man United, but they should have got something from that game. Watford were unlucky. I originally predicted Man United and Watford to draw 2-2 and it was 2-1 to Man United. It was very, very close. And obviously I haven't seen the next Premier League fixture yet. I haven't seen Watford play Fulham. I don't know if that's before or after the quarterfinal of the FA Cup. And I haven't seen Wolves play Man United for the second time. So I don't know how that's going to go. But we'll go with 2-2 Watford and Wolves and Watford on penalties. Man, what a prediction that would be. So that is going to do it for this video. A lot more in-depth analysis on these two fixtures. Let me know everything you think about these fixtures down in the comments. Who do I think is going to win? Of course, I think Man City is going to win the FA Cup. I think the quadruple is going to come down to the Champions League, really. I said before, at the start of the season, that I thought Man City were going to win 3 trophies. I couldn't tell you which ones, but I did say that Man City were going to win the Premier League. But I also thought that Man City were my favourites to win the Champions League. So with that being said, it looks like I basically thought that they'd win 4. But then I said overall, I think they're only going to win 3 just because I don't think, surely they're not going to win the quadruple. But this is definitely the best chance they've got because I've said throughout the whole season I think they're going to win the Premier League. I still think they are going to win the Premier League. Even when they were like 7 points behind Liverpool, I said that they were going to win the Premier League because I thought Liverpool weren't going to see it through, and it's looking like that could happen. Carabao Cup, that was a given. FA Cup, I think they're going to win it. They might not. And Champions League, they could win it. You know, it's a toss-up for me between Barcelona, Juventus, and Man City. So, yeah. Very exciting stuff. But like I said, that's going to do it for this video. If you enjoyed it, be sure to leave a like in it. Subscribe today, turn on the bell and the notifications so you get notified every single time I upload a video because there's a lot coming. You know, we've got the FA Cup semi-final here, Premier League, Europa League quarter-final, Champions League quarter-final, and then semi-final and final. Everything you're going to want to see. So yeah, that's going to do it from me, and I'll see you in the next video very soon.